Hi, romance readers. You may have noticed audiobooks are getting posted more and more often on my YouTube channel. We started with the single standalone prequel stories, and now the full short story collection and Unraveling Carrie Woodhouse have been posted, and all of them use AI voices. Why did I pick AI voice over human voice? This is a great question, and I want to address it in this video. My previous 4 audiobooks for the Austen series were done with human narrators. It can be expensive to do an audiobook. You have to pay the person who does the narration. I could do it. I'm not that great at voices. I can read, but I find it more engaging when vocal actors do the work, engaging themselves in the story and the character and coming up with unique identities for each of them. But again, they can get expensive, and the better they are, the more money it costs. Audible has a program that they call ACX. And within that, you could either pay your narrator and upload it, but there are some problems with exclusivity and access. Let me get into this a little more in a moment. They also have a program they call royalty share, where instead of paying an audio narrator outright, I split the profit with them. Amazon, Audible, ACX gets about 60% of what you pay for an audiobook, and the narrator and I split the other 20 each percent wise. I don't have any say in the cost of the audiobook, how much you're charged, anything like that. I get to pick my narrator and they get to do the work. And then maybe we'll make some money back on it. But it gets harder and harder as we get farther out from the first book in the series. The first book, always popular, Modern Persuasion, still the most popular of my audiobooks. But less and less of you listen to the audiobooks further out. So by book 4, Love from Northanger Park's Katie, who I had an amazing narrator for, very few of you got to hear it and are still not listening to it. And that's fine. I'm not asking you to go and get this audiobook. I'm recognizing something that happens. So it gets harder to justify doing an audiobook when you are book 5 and book 6 in a series, but you want to. And then there are the short story collections. Let me take a step back. Also, with ACX, Amazon exclusivity is insisted upon for 7 years. So for 7 years, they also work with Apple Books, but Amazon, Audible, Apple Books are the only way you can get those audiobooks right now. So if you don't want to use those 3 platforms, you don't get to listen to the audiobook. I have no control because in this case, I've done the royalty share. And if I didn't do the royalty share, it's highly encouraged to stick to Amazon exclusivity so that they will make sure people can discover your book. Amazon has a lot of weight in publishing and self-publishing, to the extent that I have very little control, even though I have control. And it was worth it at the beginning of my career, where this was the only way to make audiobooks, because I couldn't do the narration as much as I might want to. I don't have that kind of time or energy. I'd rather write the books. So that's where things stood in the summer of 2022. And then AI voices got a little better. There's a tool out there that I'm using. I've paid for it. It wasn't that expensive. It comes with a variety of voices. In fact, if I wrote dual point of view, which if you've seen the Yom Tov books, the Jewish spicy romances, you know there is dual point of view. I can have a male narrator for the male voices, a female narrator for the female voices. That's even more expensive if I did this with humans. The Yom Tov collection is long, and I want a whole audiobook for that. I don't want to split it up by novella. I might still have the novella split up, but I want one whole thing for it. And there's the short stories. Short stories don't make sense for audiobooks because it is expensive and every story is different. And this is not talking about traditional publishing. They have different budgets. They have different priorities. They will do audiobooks if there is an interest. So when I'm thinking audiobooks this past summer, I realized the AI voices would be perfect for the short stories, the prequel stories, the short story, a little more collections. And then Unraveling Carrie Woodhouse came up with the opportunity to make an audiobook. And I went into ACX and I realized I don't want to do a royalty share. I want to be able to get this book to you directly. I want it on YouTube because YouTube is where people find stuff. And if I control this audiobook, then I can put it on YouTube, which is precisely what I've been doing. I put up the behind the dedication. We've been doing video updates. And now we're doing planner videos. Like I'm doing a ton of things here on this YouTube channel. It makes a lot of sense for you, my readers, and some of my fans to be able to hear the audiobook right here on YouTube, where most of you might spend time anyway. I don't know if you're like me, you watch YouTube like you used to watch TV. So this is where we are. I made the audiobook for Unraveling Carrie Woodhouse as an AI voice narrated audiobook. And the final 3 books in the series, as well as future short stories, will be the same because I think this is more accessible. There's one final point. As many of you know, I'm editing the first 4 books in the series. And there is a big question about whether I will be re-recording those audiobooks or doing them in AI and when. Right now, I can't say. I have at least another year before Modern Persuasion is free for me to do what I want with, but I have to talk to ACX, the people who made this, and see if I have options. It might be rehiring an audiobook narrator. I think for Modern Persuasion, I would definitely rehire someone and pay them out of pocket. But for the other ones, do we want AI or do we want human? And I get it. You might love a human narrator for your audiobooks. I do as well. AI is not easy. You have to listen to how they pronounce words. And words we think are easy to pronounce are not always. So there is a lot of decision-making that goes into it. And I put reader preference high on that list. But again, when you're book 5 into a series, it's a lot different than book 1. So why are you hearing more audiobooks by AI narrators on my channel? And where are the human ones? If you would love a human narrated version of Modern Persuasion, Pride, Prejudice, and Pledging, Love from Woodhouse Hall, Love and War in Woodhouse Hall, Love from Northanger Park's Katie, they still have their original titles, File for Pie, Woodhouse Hall, Northanger Parks, but they are the books that are currently published. And yes, in the next few months, they will differ ever so slightly in some cases, but completely for Pride, Prejudice, and Pledging. And we will have discussions about it then. I hope you can appreciate, even if you don't love this solution, but it does get you the chance to listen to Unraveling Carrie Woodhouse right now instead of waiting for a narrator to finish the work. And Carrie's fun. I loved writing her. And I'm excited for when Sweeten Up Ginny Darcy comes around because I think she'll be fun with an AI voice too. Thanks, and I'll see you in another video. Like and subscribe. Let me know if you want more videos like this and subscribe to get notified when more come up.